Hey there, it's Jo Muir here, Quantum Change Agent, and I am called to finally bring forward some of the new work that I have been doing for me personally, because I know it's time for me to assist and inspire others to do the same with this work. So if you're familiar with my work, which I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, you know I'm a massive advocate for, returning to the truth of who you are. There's nothing more important than how you feel. And if you've listened to some of my meditations, or rather activations, you'll know that I often invite you to call in a symbol, which we program in of the feelings that you evoke during those activations. And so that when you're out and about in your day-to-day life, you can call in on that symbol. So it shifts and alchemizes those feelings that have been keeping you down, the lower feelings that have been introduced, and bring you back up into the high vibe sensations. And it's still very, very powerful. I'm still a massive advocate of that, to just breathe through your symbol and return into your own power of breaking down those feelings that come up that are triggered from past experiences, because they don't have to make it your experience in this moment. And you always have a choice. So that's the work that I've been doing so far. And as I say, you get a feel for that in my meditations. And when you're doing one-on-one work with me, we really clear out those energetic spaces within your field to allow the higher vibrations to naturally rise and raise with that. However, what I'm being introduced to now is the idea that we have to go back to dissolve the very energies that keep being triggered in the first place, your shadow. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of what this means. And shadow work, the different types of archetypes, are based originally on the work of Carl Jung. And there's many aspects of archetypes. Some people, you have a map of the 12 archetypes. You could be, a seer, a sage, a magician, which is me. The different aspects of those. And they're still very, very valid. One other approach of archetypes is that we have 4 fear-based archetypes and 4 in your power archetypes. And what we need to do is address each of the pairs between the fear and the power. Alchemize the shadow, the fear element, and return to the light and the mastery of your power space. My work is going to start going beyond that, back into the darkness, but we'll save that conversation for another day. So the overview of the 4 are the child as the fear and the sovereign as the power. We have the victim and the warrior. We have the saboteur and the magician. And we have the prostitute and the lover. So let's just look at each of those in turn and what this means. So these, and I invite you, while you're listening to this, to take it on board. You may need a second listen if this is a new concept for you. But I really invite you in to be open and honest with your own thought processes, your own statements, what comes out of your mouth, and how you judge others. And see whether they're falling within the fear category, or you actually are more of a master of who you be and who you be in this lifetime. So if you have some of the child traits running through you, you are such an advocate for everything to be fair, and this is how it should be. But you're very good at shoulding on other people of the ways that things should be. Sorry, this is my Metatron scarf, by the way. How things should be with that. And you are occupied with fairness and security. It's all the things that as children, that's what we really, really wanted. We wanted to be looked after and protected, told everything would be okay, and that our parents would look after us. And when we are young, we put the full responsibility onto our parents to take care of us. And that sets the tone whether we are going to grow up as adults and actually be self-responsible. Where is it that you are still blaming others for not fulfilling your life? Okay, you're looking for permission to live your life, and what's that going on? What's my other notebook? There it is. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, it's when you don't know yourself, when you feel that you're not allowed to do something. This isn't fair. Somebody else isn't making my dreams come true, and having that aspect of it. And so the relationship, the child and the sovereign, is all to do with your identity. How you show up in the world, who you are. It's like your spirit. And so it's looking at your dreams, your vision, and your identity. So who's running the show? Where in your life are you saying, oh, well, it's just not fair, I haven't had the opportunity, they haven't done this, it's because of the children, I can't do this, or whatever it is. On the other hand, when we are living in our true power, we are our sovereign. We are the king or queen of our domain. And we stand by, this is my vision, this is my truth, this is who I am. And standing for that self-mastery no matter what. You take full responsibility for bringing your child's dreams and visions to life. And it's so empowering when you can be self-responsible, when you stop putting the power outside yourself, and it's for you to show up as the sovereign of your domain. And only you can live your life as the way that you do it. So if you'll say, oh, I can't do this because I have children, and I have the job, and I have this, that, and the other, and it's not fair, then you're running from charge. You're giving your power away to someone else. You are fully responsible for everything you experience in this life, everything you create. And the sooner that you can take on that full responsibility, it's actually very, very liberating, because you get to choose. And I've been talking about that for a very long time. You're not concerned with what's fair or what's allowed. This is your terms, on your terms, life on your terms, as you choose to live it, because it's your truth and your vision. And you don't need security. You're not attached to, I have to have a certain amount of money, or I have to know where I'm going to be living. I have to, keep those things at bay. All the things that we're shown as we grow up, and certainly a massive part of our materialistic world around us. And when you can just let that go and just observe other people and going, is this for me? It doesn't have to be for you. You have and can live your life how you choose. Okay, so that's the child and the sovereign. The next pair we're going to look at is victim and warrior. So when you're being a victim to something, it's always somebody else's fault. Look what they're doing to me. Why is this always happening to me? Why me? Oh, poor me. Very, very good at pity parties, very good at making excuses for not getting on with your life because something is happening to you. You're too busy and you're too overwhelmed and you've got just too much going on. And this is all to do with not having your boundaries in place, not having the right support around you, and not having the courage to stand up for your truth and your vision. And you use everybody around you as a scapegoat as the reason as to why that doesn't happen. Oh, well, I have to be in service to others in order to be fulfilled, but I'm totally exhausted. As you know, that's a massive thing when I share my work around the Hadarans and Mintark and soul realms, where, the realms of love and light, where we are giving ourselves to everybody else rather than putting ourselves first. This is massive subconscious victim behavior, because you're not realizing you are not responsible to fix others. Okay, and again, we'll go into depth on that on another live stream. So the victim doesn't set boundaries. They say yes to everything, doesn't feel supported. It just takes more and more on, and then whinges and complains and resents it. That's being in your victim. Wondering, I could do something, but what would happen if this happened? Or, that happened last time, I don't want to have a repeat of that. You're letting past circumstances determine that you can't, in your mind, can't do anything right now because of what happened in the past. You're victim to your association with something happened in the past. And when are you going to recognize that and free yourself from it? And it's that thing, if I don't behave, I won't be loved. You think you have to show up in the world in a certain way in order to be liked, loved, needed, and wanted. Again, I've talked about this many times on other live streams. And, when we can just let that go, we can still come from that realm of, inspiring others with our own radiance and sharing the divine love. And yet we're not doing it at the expense of fueling ourselves first. I'm always on about putting your own oxygen mask on first, so you know how to fuel yourself with that magical power that you have of love and light, if that's where you're at, before you serve in the world. So on the other side of being a victim, we have the warrior, and the warrior is just standing for your truth. This is what I protect. These are my values that I protect. This is what I stand for. This is what I hold strong to me. This is what I value. I'm risking it all, no matter what. Okay? And the protector and enforcer of boundaries. Once you get clear on your boundaries, this is what happens. And anything that falls outside that, it's a simple no. You're guarding your boundaries. You're not going to let people walk all over you, wash all over, persuade you to do something. Because then you're just giving your power away to other people rather than being true to your own domain and your own energy. So the warrior, if you think, the warrior going into battle, if you like, they have their troops around them, and the warrior is the leader of those troops. He has his support, his army of support that is aligned with his vision, his truth, bringing forward the support for his sovereign. The warrior is serving the sovereign, working with the sovereign. He has a high tolerance of risk. He knows what is required to go on that battlefield, and he will go out there whatever, no matter what, because he is defending the realm of the sovereign. In this case, he's defending the realm of his boundaries, or of your whole power boundaries. This is what I will stand for. This is my vision. This is my truth that was set under the sovereign, and the warrior stands by that and protects that. So I hope that makes sense for you. So our next set of fear versus power is the saboteur versus the magician. So the saboteur is, I'm not really sure about that. I really need time to think about that. Or it doesn't make sense. It's not making sense in what it says, and it's a bit illogical. It's a bit irrational. Maybe I just step back and think about it. You're sabotaging that moment of possibility of transformation and decision making. And I'll think about it, one day I will do this, and an excuse maker why you can't do this, and why it's not the right time, and all those kind of things. And it focuses on what is and was. It's not taking responsibility. The saboteur is not taking responsibility for bringing forward the magic you're wanting to create in your life. Whereas, so this is all to do with our reality and our intuition. We're into our head. The saboteur is very much logical, analytical, coming from the mind, rather than the magician, the alchemist, where we come into our heart and our gut. What resonates for us now? What intuitively are we able to trust to forward our vision and the truth of who we are? What I say goes, and it will happen now. Let's collapse time. Let's bring it in. Let's co-create. Let's make magic. That's what the magician is. Sort of that energy. Again, the sovereign has said, this is what I'm choosing to create. The magician goes out, takes the inspired action from his intuition and brings it forward. A master of what will be, pulling something from nothing, working in the quantum fields, working with quantum energy. And, it takes responsibility, fully responsible for everything that unfolds and everything that is in your life. The magician takes hold of that. And the magician's willing to look foolish. He doesn't care what anybody thinks or says about his actions. He won't listen to the naysayers, because it's not them that set your vision, your boundaries. The naysayers are trying to interfere with your warrior, holding your values and protecting your values. And so the magician is the one that will bring the magic forward. So the last set of fear versus power archetypes, which is all to do with value, worth, and love, is the prostitute versus the lover. So the prostitute is the one that, will give themselves away and not value who they are. With the words, I can't afford that, or, I'm not willing to spend that money on such and such, because you're not valuing what it can bring to your life experience. And, I can't afford to want that. I can't afford to think that. I can't afford to believe in that. and the prostitute is, here is what I am willing to compromise in return for security, safety, and acceptance. So the prostitute will forego the values and the standards that your sovereign has set, because the prostitute wants to feel safe and secure in her little mind, or his little mind. It's not gender-based, and it's, compromising those truths and values and desires just to feel safe. So for those that are, I have to stay in this job because I absolutely have to have the money, because I've got a family to feed, and mouths to feed, and what will everybody think if I went off and started a business? And actually, really, what is it that I'm bringing forward? Who am I to do anything? Well, within that equation, you've got a number of things. First of all, you're not valuing what you do have to bring forward. So there's your prostitute. You're being your victim by saying your family requires you to do this, that, and the other. It's your sense of responsibility. Your saboteur is coming forward with all the excuses as why not now. And you're behaving like a child. It's like, oh, it's not fair. If I didn't have this family to feed, then I'd be able to go off and do other things. But I can't, and I'm stuck with this. And that's the story so many, many, many people run every single day in the story of their life. And so you're having all the traits running forward. Whereas the lover will totally uphold your values, your opinion, your self-expression, your truth and desires. They're never for sale. It's non-negotiable. These are your standards. This is the standards by which you live. This is what I love. This is what I will afford. I will not sacrifice my values for anything. Act in complete alignment with your self-worth with that, and bring that energy forward of what I value. So when we have got to the stage of fully mastering our true power-based elements, we would have set a clear vision and values for our life as our sovereign. Our lover, if you like, the sovereign and the lover, the female energies, uphold those values. This is what I love. This is what I afford. Holding that space for the warrior to protect those boundaries, and the magician to call it in, like your male energy. So I just offer the invite to ask yourself, where is it that you are living your life? Where is it that you have traits of your survivor, and where do you have traits of your power? And it can be confronting when you first see this work and look at it. And yet let's take steps. Get familiar with where it is you're operating. Become aware of your words, thoughts, and deeds, as it were. Are you operating in your fear, or are you operating in your power? So whilst I've been studying these archetypes, I've gone on to the next stage of shadow alchemy, which is completely powerful, and I will save that for another day's video, as I feel called to. So for now, I just wanted to bring those elements forward. Please do share in the comments below of what resonates for you. Have you explored this work before? Is there one area in particular that's like, oh my God, this is the area I really need to do work on? Or do you just feel that you are just creating your life on your terms and trusting implicitly in what you're bringing forward, knowing your inner family? Again, I've talked a lot about inner family before, and I really see this as your divine masculine, divine feminine within you, working as the ultimate team to create the magic of your life and bringing forward the truth of who you really are. So I hope that's helped. Please put your comments in the areas below, and we will talk soon. Namaste.